My baby calls me Mr. Baloney, but I like to believe my baby's only bluffing. My baby calls me Mr. Baloney, but I like to believe my baby's only bluffing. Yeah.
I consider myself a man of many mentors. Father was one, and some of my sister's male friends who were slightly older than I was. I noticed I've copied a lot of things, a lot of ideas, a lot of shaping. And again, later in life with other people that I'd met. Some decades ago, something in me started to become interested in, shall I call it truth, in the sense of existence. And I don't know, I started reading things, I think some Eastern stuff, yoga stuff, various things, all books. And then I decided, wait a minute, this is at the time considered a Christian country, why not have a look at that? Of course I was aware of it from school, but we said the Lord's Prayer and this, that and the other, but really, no. So then I started looking at the Christian stuff, bearing in mind I had some experience of some Eastern stuff. So I was looking at it from a little bit of a perspective. Went well, reading the Bible, various things. Opportunity came to play piano at a local church. So I started doing that. I was there for a while, and I was very impressed by the people. That they were humble. They were doing the spirit of much better than I. Helping people going, doing their shopping, all sorts of things you'd hear about. You could call on them, or they're ready to give. So that was interesting, but I did find that something didn't sit quite right. Maybe it's me, but I didn't like the kind of finger wagging. I found that, I'm not that bad a person. Well, I don't think. It wasn't an ego thing, I don't think. I just underneath felt this doesn't seem to me to be how this intelligence, this thing, non-thing, whatever, the flow of it doesn't sit so well somehow. There are a few other things. The idea of belief. Either I believe or I don't. There's not much I can do about it. I'm talking now from my own experience of looking very within myself at belief and how I, whoever that is, can influence it. Belief, attention. Where's the seat of attention? What governs it? Those kinds of things. Sometimes I try and talk to my baby about these things, but don't get too far. The rejection of others seem to be perfectly good people, but because they didn't believe exactly the same thing, there was a slight sort of feel about that, which, again, didn't sit all that comfortably. So I looked at some other things, did my spell there at the church, looked at some, meditation, looked at those kinds of things, and again I got this feeling, I'm not saying anything against anything, just for me. I got this feeling, is it really that difficult? Not because I'm lazy or I don't think, but would this creative energy make it that difficult? I've got to sit on a rock for 7 hours. Not knocking it, maybe it's good for some, but for me, somehow, all these kinds of things didn't seem to marry with what I imagined or felt this intelligence to be? It seemed rather man-made, all this kind of thing. Anyway, I kept looking, not really believing. I'm not a great believer in belief, because we all believe one thing one day and one thing the next. The world's flat and it's a globe, all sorts of things, and in our own lives. Again, I'm talking from things I've noticed. So I want whatever it is I wouldn't say studying, but looking at, it needs to fit with what I've noticed in a very subtle way. If it doesn't fit with that, it's kind of, how can it be? It has to fit with the subtle things that I've seen to be so, if any. I think we're in a very fortunate time in many ways. Instead of reading what mentors have to say in books and texts and having to send off to different libraries to get them, all of a sudden most of them are available. Not only that, current mentors are sitting there in a video. You can hear the inflection in their voice, gives you a better understanding, because understanding isn't just the word. You can see their expressions. What I found useful, because I was a little bit doubtful, well, I'm not going to just take anything you say. So some of it was quite interesting where they're in groups, live as far as I could see, and people would ask questions live as far as I could see. And I would think, what my answer to that question would be. And then I'd hear theirs, which was nearly always different to mine, and nearly always got straight to it. Help the person recognize, not straight to it like learn this, but the way it was delivered in the language seemed to bring about a recognition. So it's wonderful. It's much more efficient, it seems to me, than reading text that was translated from ancient text, and even that translation was some time ago. So that would be my advice to anybody who's noticing something emerging in them, maybe, is that there's plenty there to look at. I would say try not to believe anything. I can't see any value in it, really. But see if you recognize, not recognize, because somebody else has said that, though that may happen as well and other things, but I'm talking about this very subtle recognition, just something that, like when you recognize an old friend, it just dawns on you. Something that gives you that kind of a feeling as a recognition of what that person's saying. That's what I'd suggest. And take your time. There's no rush, I don't think. That's my experience. Maybe it means something to you. Maybe not.